Awesome. So everyone, I would like to welcome Gianfranco Campos from Zignar, and he would be giving an amazing presentation on the use of DLT technology in the agricultural space. So, yeah, take it away, Gianfranco. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. As you said, my name is Gianfranco Campos, and I'm here today to share with you the context that we are facing for. Hold on, there is a glitch here. Let's jump into. Yeah, I'm here today to share the context we are facing in regards of food waste, sustainable agriculture, and rural development. It's not letting me share for some reason. Discord is loading.
Is it causing some issues with your presentation?
It's just loading, but I got it now, I think.
Okay.
I'm going to share the screen instead of sharing only one slide. Nope, still loading.
Try sharing your entire screen. Does it let you
Yeah,
do?
no, I don't even get to that step. I have the two dots that are loading for screen share prior selecting the application or prior selecting the window. I'm
I
going
see.
to disconnect and connect again.
Yep. Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome.
I think Discord is having some issues today. Connor messaged in community chat that chat is also bugged up today, so I think it's just Discord's issue.
Okay.
Let's try it
Okay.
once more.
Well, I can start talking. Yeah.
Is can you try sending it to me? Maybe I can screen share and like you can talk over and tell me when to change slide.
Yeah, sure. I can.
Let's try that.
Let's try that. Merrill. Did you get it?
Yep. I'm just downloading this and then we can start. Open.
Yeah.
1 second, it's just downloading. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, open and slideshow. Start from first slide. Slideshow. Okay, screen share and screen share. What? It's no. This is weird.
Is the same for you?
Yeah, it's stuck on loading. It's weird.
Okay. So let the content or the slides are referential. I can explain them to you, and it's more on the problematic and things that are happening. So I think that as long as you follow the conversation, we can get the idea. The images or the content were more just to follow the process of thought. So let's start with food waste. I'm a ham lover. It's one of my favorite preserved foods, and I eat it about probably 2 times a week. But it's amazing that the technique dates to at least 160 years before our era. And I start with this because I would like to give a brief story of how we humans came up with the food waste problem. From the very beginning, as soon as we invented the fire, we figured out how to preserve some vegetables. But then we also started to preserve some meat and even on how to make food in general. But we did this because of a need, not because of a niche or because it tasted better, but because we needed to survive for longer periods during the winter without crops. Then we started to become revolutionary because we started to preserve food not only for ourselves, but also for animals. And we also found new techniques in the process. So we learned how to preserve with salt, how to preserve with honey, vinegar, and so on. There is no doubt that our ancestors learned how to preserve food, but at some point, something went really wrong. Industrialization came up and made us lazy. And since then, we started to produce in mass, but not just for our needs. We started to produce in terms of companies that want to achieve success, calculating the number of products that need to be sold to reach a quota. So these companies are even willing to spare a certain percentage for waste. And this has been happening in our daily life for the last 70 years. In addition to that, we started to overpackage our food. So in the 40s, let's say 40s, 50s, and 60s, there was a variety of fruits, vegetables, meat with very little packaging. Then suddenly the packaging started to grow, and now it's obvious or evident that all our food, or most of it, is overpackaged. So as we continue with this, we went into making larger marketing campaigns. So now we sell products that packaging and branding cost more than the company, more for the company than the actual food that is contained and that we are purchasing or getting. So food waste, just to explain or give you some numbers, 8 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions are associated with food waste. 931 million tons of food waste was the estimate for 2019, whereas 61% is related to household food waste, 26% is related to food service, and 13% is related to retail food waste. So there is sufficient total food waste around the world to feed the population, and that have less or that it doesn't have enough food. The question then is, or the big question for you guys is, how can we incentivize the population to preserve the unused food at home and consume it, or to create a circular economy using distributed ledger technologies to incentivize again these people who has the food, and essentially we are not preserving it the way we were used to do it. I don't have an answer, but I want you to think about it. That's one of the core problems that are related to this hackathon. On the other hand, there is the idea of sustainable agriculture. Why sustainable agriculture is important? Well, approximately from the 8 billion people that live on the planet, 1 billion lives on extreme poverty. And 3/4 of these 1 billion live in rural areas that are dependent on agriculture. Their agriculture is primitive and looks very, very much like their grandparents' agriculture. Indeed, every country in the developing world has this problem. When I go to Peru, I'm Peruvian, I visit my family there and then visit around the rural areas just to meet the country. I can see it everywhere. So when you look at them, you can ask yourself the question, why in this 2021 are there people living in such miserable conditions? Now, if you look at the statistics of those who migrate to cities, you will realize that the situation for them is so desperate in the rural areas that they are willing to go and live often in very bad conditions in the cities. And because the big wild city offers them better conditions than when they lived in the countryside. Thus, a lot of these people, especially in Americas, in Africa, are also the core immigrants crossing borders that we see on TV. And they probably would like to stay in the place where they were born, but they can't because they are living in terrible conditions. On the other hand, the world is also losing each year the same area as the size of Greece. This is insane because we are eating up our planet with deforestation. And the most of it, but not all, is caused by farmers trying to feed the developing world. So those are big problems, and the complexity of these problems doesn't have obviously an easy solution or a direct one. But the idea is to keep this in mind and to try to address them with the technology that is available. But at the same time, considering that productivity farm modernization occurring with these people under extreme poverty who have barely enough to live for the rest of the day won't work, and any other business won't work. So for those who are in farming and don't have or are under these extreme conditions and don't have better option to butter their production, it's very hard to think on high tech to optimize their production. But somehow these people that are in the middle of this reality have a chance to access a phone or have a smartphone. Not all of them, but there is a growing percentage. So they don't have a toilet, don't have a birth certificate, but they have this tool that opens up or unleash huge possibilities, because through the phone they can have an identity, they can hold tokens, they can access cutting-edge finance tools. So again, the problem is very complex, and we don't have to boil the ocean to solve this. But the idea is to focus or address specific situations that are somehow familiar to us. And this conversation, again, is to bring up this problematic to you, to make you aware or refresh what is actually going on. In terms of sustainable agriculture, the main goals, and this is a definition that I found on the internet from the United Nations, are to help to provide enough food for everyone, to bring communities out of poverty, provide an enhanced quality of life for farming families, and utilize farming methods that promote soil health and reduce reliance on fossil fuels for the environmental sustainability. So those are the key concepts that are around sustainable agriculture. And finally, for um, rural development, there are huge disparities between rural and urban areas that are pronounced, and big gaps that are persistent in different sectors. For example, in 2015, about 2.8 billion people around the world uh, lacked or were lacking of access to modern energy services, and more than 1 billion do not have access to electricity. For the most part of this developed burden, it happens on rural areas where the lack of access to modern energy services affects the productivity, educational attainment, and even the health, and exacerbates the poverty trap. So in rural areas, only 56% of birds are attended by skilled health personnel compared to 87% in urban areas. 60% of rural population do not improve drinking water sources compared to the 4% in the urban population. And about 50% of people living in rural areas lack of improved sanitation facilities compared to only 18% of people in urban areas. Um, so to all of these big chunk of problems, there is also the other side of the story that we are very involved in, which is DLT, distributed ledger technologies. Okay, the DLT industry per se won't solve any problem as the same as the other techs. Any actual problem, any human problem, but there is the need of aligning the technology in general, or the set of technologies with the solutions that are going to be um, solving the the core needs or the demands of the world population. You have to think on Internet of Things, machine learning, deep learning, web development, and how can we integrate these technologies to enable new use cases, to enable new economies, circular economies that make the world sustainable, and that allows us to solve the core problems that we have been dealing with for the last at least 70 years or more. So I don't know if you have any questions, feedback, comments. I would love to share my screen. I've been trying throughout the conversation, but Discord is not helping today. So it's what it is. But in general, I encourage you to step back and think for a moment on the potential and the impact of the solutions that we can set for this hackathon, and not only for this weekend, but also in the near future and short term.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Gianfranco, for this amazing session. It was really insightful, especially from someone who's not really into this agricultural space. It was really fun to listen in on this. So, if anyone has any questions, please put them in hackathon chat, and I'll unmute you and you would be able to ask then. Doesn't seem like anyone has any questions right now.
I guess I have a question for them. How do you find the hackathon so far?
Ah, yes, this is a question I wanted to ask a lot of people too. So, anyone would like to answer? Any volunteers who I can unmute and they can respond? No one? Was it boring?
They are coding right now.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
time for
yeah.
talking.
Hackathons can get crazy. We've been awake for like till like 4 a.m. in the morning trying to finish things and wake up at like 8 next day.
Yeah. No, it's time flies during a hackathon.
Exactly.
If at the end of the hackathon you will feel that it has happened maybe 2 weeks or half a month, like about that, but it's just only a weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
yeah. Well, we are going to be available. The Zignar team is helping is helping and participating in the hackathon. So we have two teams: one who is participating, and the other one who is assisting with IOTA streams. If you want to integrate IOTA streams framework to your solution, don't hesitate to reach out either to me, Chris, Pablo. We will be more than happy to solve any question. Chris has a scheduled session for tomorrow morning to essentially explain or give our version or our explanation about the stream protocol or stream framework. Also walk through the API, which is available as an option for developers to integrate their solution. And the other two tools that are out there, which are the Streams core implementation that was part of IoT to Tango, and also the MQTT broker to send messages. So either if you want to build a custom connection with IOTA streams or IOTA channels protocol, or if you just want to connect through our API, there is those options there, and you can reach out if there is any question. I think that Pablo right now for the API has enabled the subscription option to have some subscription management. So it's not only sending messages and reading them, but also handling who is subscribed and when. That adds more possibilities to the mix. And it's, I guess, depends on you.
It was an amazing session, Gianfranco. Thank you so much again for it. And everyone, please watch out for the amazing session they would be conducting about IOTA streams tomorrow. I saw a sneak peek of it today and it was absolutely fantastic. So, if I were you, I would definitely attend that session because you would learn quite a lot from that.
I think it's tomorrow at
I think it's 1 CET since it's
1
5:30.
CT. Yeah.
It's at 5:30 my time. Yeah, so it should be at 1 CET.
Yeah. So excited for the hackathon. We are also Oliver, who is leading one of the core members of the team who is participating, is working right now on the hackathon. So I guess we will see what comes up at the end of the week in that regard.